Hi, everybody. Usually there is, a big fancy like lead in, like show opener introduction sort of thing, but that didn't seem to work this evening. But that's okay. I'm still Tim Tamashiro, and this is Jazz Home Delivery here on Facebook and YouTube. It's being brought to you by TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days. This is the virtual festival, and we have been going for around 17 or 18 days now. 28 planned in a row. Boy, it's been a lot of fun. So excited tonight that it's an all guitar night. Featuring our friend Larry Roy from Winnipeg. He's a Juno nominator and a fine educator. And we also have Aaron Young, who is a guitarist from right here in Calgary, the Yngwie Malmsteen of all genres. he is he is also a composer, and I have us right here. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Thank you for being here on Jazz Home Delivery.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yeah, totally.
Pleasure to be here.
You guys have been busy doing some really, really fun things with the guitar, and I need to point out to the viewers that you haven't shook hands before. You probably hadn't even met each other before at any point in time, but you did something special. Larry, to set it up, what the song is that I'm going to play for everybody here right now.
Well, I had a thought on the weekend, seeing as Aaron and I were going to do this show together, and I thought, why don't we do something? Why don't we collaborate on something? So I got in touch with Aaron and talked to Lucy, our producer, and she said, "Yeah, that would be fine." So Aaron felt like doing All Things You Are, which I was fine with that. So what happened is I recorded the first part of the song. I played the chords for the melody and 3 choruses of solo, sent it to him. He put on a solo and then started comping and reciprocated for me, so I was able to do a little solo and play melody at the end. And I felt the same pressure as I would have if we'd been sitting on stage together.
Yeah.
It was cool.
This is like voodoo, because I know how much effort it would take to be able to not only play in time and to hold that rhythm rock solid, but to do it without a click track in your ear, and then to send it to somebody you don't know and go do something with it. And Aaron, when you got it, you kind of went, what?
Yeah, like you never know what to expect, but the second I heard Larry play, I went, oh, okay, this is going to be just fine. He's a fantastic player, and his sense of time is so rock solid that it felt really effortless, and I thought it turned out really well.
It's really a treat. I'm not even going to talk to you guys anymore. I'm just going to play this song because it was just so much fun. I love this so much. So here, ladies and gentlemen, as part of the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days, we're jumping right in with this song because it's just it's brilliant. Here's Larry Roy together with Aaron Young, All the Things You Are. Watch and learn.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh man, it is so much fun. There we got Aaron Young and Larry Roy together playing guitar for the first time together, literally, and it was like there were two Tommy Emmanuels on the screen there. It was just so much fun.
That was a blast, yeah.
And here's the fun thing, folks out there watching, is that these two haven't seen that compilation together. They just played and then sent it all into Cody Hutchinson, who cobbled the video together. So you guys can look forward to what you've done together. What you've done together, you guys need to be really proud of. So it was super fun. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yep.
Aaron, I'm going to leave you just for a little while. Please sit back and relax, and I'm going to go talk with Larry in the first portion of the show, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. I got here and here. It's just me and Larry. Very nice to have you here, sir.
Yeah, likewise, Tim.
How much time do you spend on your guitar every day? Must be a lot.
It varies a little bit. It was a ton when we first started. We stopped classes in mid-March. So the first couple weeks, really, I think it was a massive adjustment for everybody in every domain. I think just to be stuck at home, not to be able to do really anything. So I practiced quite a bit at that point. Well, it took a little while to get comfortable with that, and then so I'm doing some renos on the house and doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but practicing quite a bit.
Oh, good. Do you allow yourself to swing a hammer when you're doing renos around the house, just in case?
Oh, sure I do. Yeah, I come
Okay.
from a family of builders, so I've been around tools my whole life.
Oh, there you go. Okay, you gotta kind of wonder sometimes if it's worth the while, to be able to bang your finger. But I'm sure you're very
Oh,
good at it.
there have been some mishaps.
Yeah. You're working on a brand new album together with the Winnipeg singer Aaron Prop. Your first album together did very well. You even got a Juno nomination on that. So tell me about what you're going to do with your new album.
Well, we've been writing some new music for the last few years now, and it was time. It was time to put this to go into the studio and do this. Variety of things, different types of music. When you're writing this stuff, you feel like you're writing the same tune over and over again. That's just a hazard of being a composer and being self-critical. But as we started recording, I realized that there is actually a fair amount of variety on this record. We were fortunate. We were able to bring in a couple of our friends, Larnell Lewis and Mike Downs, flew in from Toronto to record in the studio the last week of February, right before these restrictions hit. So we were very lucky to have them here, and they spent a couple of days. Larnell was here for 2 days. Mike recorded with us for one, and it was one of the best couple of days of my life. The first day with Larnell, he did 8 tunes in 6 hours on just an array of different stuff. I mean, this guy is so crazy talented, so intuitive, so organic, and it was just a pleasure. We connected in ways that I didn't anticipate, and man, oh man, what a great weekend. I met him about 6 years ago. He was in town, Winnipeg, doing a CD release with a piano player at the time.
Yeah.
And the guy hired Aaron and I to do the opening for the CD release. And Larnell came to say hi, introduce himself after that, and he said, I love what you guys are doing as a duo. He said, as a solo guitar, to be putting those sort of grooves out there for a singer by yourself is just he just loved it. Yeah. And when he came to town a few times, and he was doing some drum clinics for Yamaha, and apparently just asked the crowd. He said, "Where's Larry Roy? Where's Larry Roy at?"
Were you there?
I wasn't there, no, because
darn.
we do a Wednesday night jam with our university students, and this happened to be a Wednesday night. So somebody in the crowd said, "Well, Larry's at the Wednesday night hang." So they brought Larnell to where we were at, and we got to hang out and play a bit. And
tell me about this song that you've recorded for us, "Whisper Not." This is a Benny Golson song, and I was telling you about a movie about Benny Golson the other day. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. Tom Hanks movie called
The Terminal.
The Terminal, yes.
Yeah.
I will be checking that out soon.
I'm not going to give away any spoilers, just so you know. So, but
Sure.
it's a very, very lovely movie. So
nice. Well, Benny Golson is one of the great composers in jazz 20th century, and so you can't you can't have learned this music without having encountered a variety of Benny Golson tunes, and so this is one that I've always loved. You have, as musicians, we each have maybe 3 dozen tunes that we keep going back to all the time, because those are the ones we gravitate towards. They talk about Joe Henderson. Joe Henderson had his 15 tunes that he would play. He played his whole life in concert.
Wow.
More or less the same tunes. Miles did that for a decade, playing Stella and some of the other tunes that he would play all the time. So Whisper Not is just one of those beautiful tunes that it's so easy to play. So there it is.
It feels good to play, obviously.
Yep.
That's great. Whisper Not, I was doing a little research on this. Benny Golson wrote this song in 20 minutes, he said. So those 20 minutes have brought you a lot of joy. Isn't that something?
Yeah, I wish I could write a song like that in 20 minutes. Wish I could write any song in 20 minutes.
Right, there you go. Our friend Larry Roy is here as part of TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days Virtual Festival, and he has this song now, one of his favorites of all time. Here's Benny Golson's Whisper Not. There he is, Larry Roy, with his version of Whisper Not Benny Golson. Thank you so much for that version. It's you can tell that you really enjoy playing along to that, and boy, what a treat. Your technique with you hang on to the pick with these two fingers, well, with your finger and thumb, and then you do other stuff with the other fingers. Is that a traditional technique, or is that something you invented?
Oh, I wouldn't say I invented it. I think many guitarists probably do both pick and the fingers. I mean, maybe early on I did. You see, a lot of guitar players will play with a pick, and then they'll either put the pick on their lap or put the pick in their mouth, and then they'll do finger picking.
Yeah.
But I thought I don't want to have to transition all the time, so I trained my other three fingers to play like a normal classical guitar will play, with these three fingers and your thumb, and not use the little finger much. So, but I've trained these three fingers to try and be as good as those three, so I can kind of do classical guitar stuff, and it allows me to comp a little bit more like a piano. It feels more like a piano player. You can play block chords when you're using your fingers, as opposed to always strumming the strings.
It's super cool, man. You're really good at it. It's I've never seen that particular technique before, but that's I was super impressed. That's a lot of fun. Hey, Larry, you were recently, you took part in an online conference that was coming from folks in Australia. You're learning all about online teaching, because you'll have to pivot to that in your role as faculty at University of Manitoba. One thing that you told me the other day really struck home with me, and you said it's not something that most people would think of, but lighting and sound will make online teaching so much better. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, that's just one of some of these people. They were talking about different ways to get organized. There are people who've been teaching music online for decades now, and they're very good at it. So they're great resources for those of us who have no choice but to make a transition towards online and distance teaching and learning.
Yeah.
So one of the things they talked about is try to make it as comfortable for the student as possible. And then in that sense, if you have great sound, if you have good microphones, a good speaking mic, and a good mic on your guitar or your guitar amp, and you have decent lighting with you're gonna feel a little bit more intimate in terms of the connection in the room for the student, and you're not gonna sound like a room mic in an aquarium, and so all those little things that will make the student forget that it's an online lesson, and it feels like you're in the room.
Yeah, it's true. And then it just feels like you're just having a normal conversation. You're not distracted by weird light that's coming from over top, or by, mics cutting in and out, like what you sometimes hear on Zoom calls and that kind of thing. It makes a big difference, right?
Yeah, it does.
That's huge. So you're transitioning now to teach improv classes at University of Manitoba in the fall. How do you see your students embracing that? And you're going to find new ways for them to collaborate together, right?
Well, I hope so. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, that's another thing that they mentioned in this online conference, is that it's a bigger adjustment in many ways for the profs than it will be for the students. The students are online all the time. They are looking at stuff on YouTube all the time. There's YouTube lessons, and so they're doing that kind of stuff, and they're connecting. A lot of the students will do online lessons with people from all over North America anyway. Yeah. So in a sense, they're probably less stressed about it than we are. So for us, I think we just have to put the work in, get organized, and so for an improv class with 10 people, we'd probably use Zoom, and I would run the meeting. It's a meeting conference software, but in this case, we can use it for music. And if I pre-record all of the tunes that I want us to work on, and they all have versions of it, then they can play it in their own space and play along with it, and I can monitor it and give advice or give comments, and the rest of the class can hear it, and they can all sort of collaborate a little bit together. So I got to figure out how to keep everybody engaged and feel like they're still all supporting one another in a classroom, because it really is that improv class is really about solidarity anyway with these kids, because they're all in the same room and they're all trying to reach a certain level and try to accomplish certain things. And so it's I have to recreate that online if I can.
It'll be solidarity in a new way, in the new way, maybe even forward. So maybe this is an advantageous time for them to be learning that way. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, there are some benefits. There are, in fact, benefits to this online stuff, which we spoke about the other day a little bit. I mean, if you have to record yourself and put it online, there's a certain accountability to what you're putting out there.
Yep.
As opposed to sitting in the classroom playing for 40 seconds and that's it. You had a little performance, you did a solo on something, I'll have a few comments and that it's gone. No one will never hear it again.
It evaporates, yeah.
But if you're online and you got to record something, you got to put it out there for people to listen to, you're going to be accountable for it in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited for your students to embrace this new way of learning and to bring the ensemble aspect together in new ways. I mean, the great thing is that they have the entire world to pick from. They can collaborate with people from anywhere around the world if they learn how to do it right now. So that's really exciting. Another aspect that you and I were chatting about the other day is. This is kind of an odd thing to think about because I'd never thought about it before. How does a saxophonist or a drummer or a trumpeter practice if they live in an apartment building? So you have to have spaces available for them at the university in order to be able for them to do their thing, right?
Yes, we do, and that's what we're negotiating. Our dean is he's fighting hard for that right now to try and ensure that for those that can't practice at home, if they can't practice at home, that's a game changer. Then this online stuff is moot because if they can't spend time on their instruments. So in all likelihood, it sounds like we'll be able to, what did somebody say the other day? A 4-10 arrangement. 4 days out of 10. This is something that some of the universities in New York are proposing where rather than coming to school every day for 2 weeks, 10 days, you're scheduled for 4 days out of 10, like a, what they say, 0.4 or 0.7 or 0.8 when they work. It's a 2 week schedule. So you have 4 days. So they may have, let's say that they allow 1/6 of the students a day to come to school. That's how they would try and schedule that so that there's not too much traffic, that we can sanitize everything the proper way. I mean, I've been in protocol meetings nonstop for the last 2.5 months. So
yeah,
it's on there. It's on our radar big time.
I'll bet. Well, I'm sure you guys are doing your very, very best to make sure that everybody is safe and everybody still has a great learning experience. That's for sure. You were approached by one of your students recently who wanted to play the song Misty. What was your reaction to that and how did you help them?
Well, one of my students, James Prescott from Kelowna, in fact, he came to Winnipeg to do a master's, take his master's with us. And he just finished. He had a great couple of years here. And he wanted to do Misty for his final recital. And I encouraged them to do a solo piece on part of their recitals. So they have to learn to play melodies with chords and improvise and move harmony around like a piano player would. But when he suggested Misty, and I mean I've played Misty most of my life. I don't play that often, but in order to help him, I needed to come up with some pathways that I could share with him. And once I started working on it, I thought, hey, this is a lot of fun. So now I have an arrangement of it. He has an arrangement of it, which has a few of my suggestions, but a lot of his things. And so I thought, hey, this is a good time to put this out. Out there.
I love it. I love that it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's one of those things where you kind of go, ooh, I think I like that. Those are the best experiences ever. So we're going to play that song for everybody now. Larry Roy is here with the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days, the virtual festival, and he's recorded this. This is a beautiful version of Misty, and not a hint of Johnny Mathis anywhere. This is just delicious. Here's Larry Roy with Misty. What an amazing job you did, Larry. Holy cow. Loved every minute of it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Tim.
Misty, look at Aaron is in the other room. He's clapping. Aaron Young, he's really thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm sure everybody at home enjoyed it as well. That last chord you played, I'm sure that I heard tendons tear, just the way that you're kind of reaching and everything. It was amazing, though.
Yeah. I have short fingers, but they can sure stretch.
Yeah, you put a lot of hard work into it. I'm going to bring Aaron into the picture here, and I have. Wasn't that wonderful, Aaron?
Wow.
Yeah. So
amazing.
much fun. I wanted to bring Aaron into the picture because I'm sure we're both wondering, how come you have such a good haircut? Like you have such a good haircut, Larry, and it's COVID. Like how are you doing that? Like, do you have a barber in the house or something?
Well, no, but they I mean, I looked like Shaggy DA about a week ago.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I looked like Disney's Shaggy DA, and it was driving me nuts. So, I mean, our numbers have been so good here that they've lifted some of those regulations.
Oh, good.
I pretty much wrapped myself in saran wrap and wore gloves and a mask,
Yeah.
and I agreed to take my hat off because otherwise it wouldn't have amounted to much. But I went to see my hairstylist, and she was wearing a mask, and we took every protocol. I wore gloves, and
Good.
I got home. I got rid of all that, put all that clothes aside, and everything else. And so,
Well, you look like $1,000,000. I'll tell you. My wife gave me a haircut with the kitchen scissors actually about a week and a half ago. So you look like $1,000,000. Thanks so much for being on the show. Really appreciate that. Larry, will you excuse me? I'm going to go over and talk with Aaron here for a bit. All right?
yeah, yeah.
Hang there. That's good. Aaron, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, my friend.
It's I don't get to see you enough, but I always have so many wonderful giggles and laughs every time I do see you, and I'm always amazed at your talent. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, this is great. Larry's amazing. Holy.
Yeah, yeah, it's really really a treat to have you both on the show. So leading up to all this craziness, all this zany time at home, you were on a 40-day tour in a bus, and you were in Saskatchewan.
Yep.
At that time, it was under 10 people in Saskatchewan had tested positive for COVID, but
It was something like that.
there were people on the tour bus that were going, no, I got to go home. So tell me more about what you were seeing at that time and what happened to the tour.
Well, it all changed really quickly, but we started our tour with Gord Bamford, my band Ghost Boy, myself and Denis Dufresne, and yeah, we first went to Brandon actually. Show was great. Things were starting to get hype up in the media, and everyone's wondering, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. But literally within 24 hours, everything changed. Everything changed. We right before we went on stage in Moose Jaw, Gord Bamford was like, "This is our last performance," and we're like, "What?
Yeah.
How is that?" And yeah, it changed that quickly, and we ended up going home after that performance. But yeah, that's what's been going on.
And there were so that particular night, not that it was a bad thing, but I mean, it was 2,500 people in the show having a good time.
Yep.
And that was them probably. Did they kind of understand the full scope of what was going on, like compared to what you guys did, or what?
I think they did at that moment. I think
Yeah.
that, it was as much of a shock to them as it was to us in a way. I mean, we learned about that maybe 10 minutes before they did. And yeah, it was like you could just feel it. It was like, this is probably the only live show of this size happening in North America at that time.
Wow.
So let's have fun.
Yeah.
And then let's go home and shut it down.
And just to be clear, you were in Moose Jaw at the time. So, I mean, this is a smaller community. Chances are it hadn't been even remotely touched by any of the virus.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's the only reason why we went ahead with it. But
Yeah.
the 30 shows after that, they were canceled.
All done. Yeah. So you came home. You came home to Calgary. And what did you get busy doing?
I wasn't really sure what I was going to do at first until I turned on my computer.
Oh,
And then I saw a pile of recording work that needed to be done, and it just keeps on flooding in. So it's
yeah.
good.
Is it? You've set up a studio, and you've had a studio in your home for many years. And I mean, you might consider that diversifying or whatever it is. Sorry, my dog is barking right now in the middle of the
can hear
show.
that, yeah.
This is all good. Yeah, it is what it is. What are you going to do?
Dog's
Excuse me, Stewie, quiet please.
Stewie.
Thank you. Good boy. No, good boy. Quiet. Anyway, so you got home, and all of a sudden there's all this recording work available for you. You had not expected that, I would imagine, right?
No, I didn't because I wasn't even remotely focused on that. I was focused on I'm going to be away from home for 5 weeks, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And then suddenly I'm back home, and I'm like, what do I do now? And I mean, there's always something to do for sure. But when I opened up, the files on the computer, I went, okay, there's a lot to do here. And then, of course, my partner in crime, Denis Dufresne from in my band Ghost Boy, we bunch of stuff happening there. It's been actually a really busy time.
Yeah, and the word collaborate keeps on showing up a lot of times in your email, right? Because they know that a lot of musicians around the country in all kinds of genres of music that you work in are probably saying, hey, you know what? We need a guitar player.
That has happened. Actually, just recently in California, my good friends in the band Daring Greatly, sort of like this 70s, really cool sort of folk rock band, they just sent me a track and they were like, lay something down on this. So, I mean, it's always happening.
Yeah.
Lot of stuff like that.
Well, I'm glad that you're keeping busy and almost too busy, you were saying. And on top of that, you're teaching students as well, about a dozen students a week.
Yeah, I've been doing that as well. And learning the interface, learning what works and what doesn't. And it's kind of weird teaching people remotely at first, but I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Aaron, tell me about this song that you've sent to us. It's called "I Found Myself," and this is a song that you penned. How was this song inspired?
Good question. I would say probably, it was funny. Today I was thinking about that song and I was like, when did I even write that? And I was like, oh, I think I wrote that 10 years ago. And I was like, no, I think I wrote that song 15 years ago. I was like, no, go back. It was probably closer to 20 years ago that I wrote that song. I come from this like a fingerstyle guitar school of like Michael Hedges and Tuck Andrus and that kind of stuff. And I've always experimented with open tunings and all kinds of things. And this song, for me, at that moment in my life, I was checking out a lot of African music and like Daguerre, stuff like that. And even Pat Metheny at that time was doing a project called Secret Story. And there was some really, really cool African-inspired music on that album. And for some reason, this kind of came out of that.
Interesting. Well, I'm really excited to play this song. It's called "I Found Myself," and it's 20 years old. So thanks for bringing out the fresh stuff for us, Aaron.
It's always changing and more.
I've known you for a long time. I can give you the hard time. It's beautiful. Aaron Young is here as part of the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days Virtual Festival. Here's Aaron Young with his self-penned song called "I Found Myself." There's Aaron Young with his song called I Found Myself. You found yourself playing the guitar because that's a beautiful guitar and you're very, very good at it. Boy, that was really lovely. Lots of open strings and deliciousness. Wow. So much. What kind of guitar was that?
That is a guitar I bought in 2005 called a Haydn. Michael Haydn made that guitar. It's a thin line jumbo guitar.
It's a huge guitar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful sounding. Holy cow. Lots of depth there, that's for sure. You're a really diverse fella, you know. I mean, you take gigs, but you also have your own band, and then you do recording, and you do collaborations and video and audio and all this kind of stuff. How important is it now for musicians to think diversity? Is that a piece of advice that you would kind of cast out there?
You know, I give it all the time to my students and peers. I think that especially right now, we're learning this the hard way. That, you know, the guy that's focusing just on live gigs, it's like, what are you doing now, right? Whereas I've always kind of spread things out a little bit, at least enough that, you know, well, let's be honest, I get bored really easy, you know.
Oh, do you?
So
Okay.
it's kind of always been that way. So, you know, I love the recording bit, and I love playing live, and I also love teaching. I love teaching. And so between those three things, I find that, I stay busy. Definitely.
Yeah, no kidding. And if there's, you have a hidden talent that not many people know, but I think you're a voice double for Bubbles on. Do you do like the no whatever?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You're so good at that. You're so good at Bubbles. Oh my goodness. So yeah, you've jumped into for a couple of years now. You've been making a lot of music videos with your partner Denny Dufresne, who's an incredible mandolin player and fiddler and musician, guitar player. He plays it all. So you know, in terms of video, this is really one of the things that I'm finding is happening. Is that this is a way to not only stay in touch with our fan base, but also as a means of creating an income. And you guys have an interesting project where you actually get patrons to actually pay for some of your videos. Tell us about that process.
Okay, well, like since we got booted off our tour, thanks to COVID-19, we have been, and it's all good. We've been doing a lot of these sponsored videos, and what that means is a number of businesses and people have been getting a hold of us, and it's almost like they can pick the song that they want, and there's like, you know, I'd love for you to do a version of this song. So we do it in our own way, and sometimes it's with a full band. And we produce it very much the same way that Larry and I produced All the Things You Are. It's kind of like, oh, here's what I'm doing, now add on to it, right?
Yeah.
And so we've been doing that. And yeah, it's been a lot of people getting a hold of us and wanting to do that and dedicate it to people. And some of it's for charity.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It could be it might be somebody saying, it's my anniversary coming up, or it's my son's birthday, or whatever the case, and he loves XYZ song, right? And you guys could jump in and be able to create that in a meaningful way.
Exactly. And that's what we've been doing. In fact, we just finished one today, and it's coming out. Yeah.
What was it? Or can you let the cat out of the bag?
I'd have to kill you.
Okay. Murder was not part of this whole setup here, but
I'll give you a hint. It was a Beatles song.
It's perfect. It's
So
absolutely perfect. Yes,
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with those, right? You have one more song that you've created for us, and I'm really excited to play this for people too, because you say you country fried this. Explain yourself.
I come from the old school sort of Chet Atkins, Merle Travis, fingerstyle kind of stuff, and grew up kind of learning that. And so whenever I'm kind of flipping through the real book, I'll often pick songs that you can country fry, just kind of change it up a little bit.
How do you describe country fry, though? I mean, it's not like just, you don't dip it in egg and a flour wash or anything like that.
Well, in this case, you're looking for a good two feel, and you know that this sort of thing, you know, where you can just feel that two feel, and if you can feel that, and a lot of that is earlier trad kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this tune, Cherokee, I've played for years, but typically it was just a burner, like a real fast swing and something to blow over real fast. But one day I was like teaching, I can't remember, one of my students, I was like, well, I think this would make a really good sort of Merle Travis sort of thing. So kind of what I ended up doing.
It's so much fun. I'm really excited to play this song as well. Our friend Aaron Young is here with us on Jazz Home Delivery, and he is he has dipped the song in an egg wash, and then flour, and then another egg wash, and then an extra coating of flour. Here is his country fried version of Cherokee. There we go. Aaron Young doing his thing, his country fried version of Cherokee. You know, I got to bring Larry in on this because it was just so much fun. Larry, I was watching you watching Aaron, and the smile on your face was as big as the grin on his face when he was watching you and listening to you. So how it must be so much fun to watch other guitarists just go and just have fun, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But what I find that's so cool is that there's people that love music and people that, I mean, we love these tunes. You know, we all know a lot of the same music and we love these tunes, and we've really, in many ways, just dedicated our lives to bringing everything that we can bring to this music, and that's what I'm digging about tonight. Is that see how Aaron is doing a bunch of stuff that I've always admired and worked towards myself, and so that common ground to me is a really cool thing among musicians.
Yeah, you both really blew us all away. Aaron, thank you so much for your talents, and Larry, thank you so much for your talents, and thank you for collaborating too, because that was a real special moment. You know, there's we have the ability, and jazz has to stay at home right now, or music just has to stay at home right now, but that doesn't mean we can't collaborate. So you've proven that in spades.
Yeah, way to do it.
Yeah, great job, Aaron.
Wonderful job.
Love your playing, Larry. Awesome.
We're gonna group hug it out after I say thank you for the sponsors. We've been here with the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days Virtual Festival. I'm Tim Tamashiro, joined by Aaron Young and Larry Roy tonight on guitar. It was all Weldon all night. Yeah. Woo. So happy to be here with you. And here's a special thanks to our sponsors. JazzYYC would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support that has helped bring this virtual jazz festival to you. TD, Jazz Home Delivery, the City of Calgary, Alberta Foundation for the Arts, the Government of Canada, Calgary Arts Development, Inglewood BIA, CKUA Radio, Calgary Public Library, CADME, the Coalition for Music Education, Music Monday, Studio Bell, home of the National Music Center, Decidedly Jazz Danceworks, Arts Commons, and the Music Mile. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, please subscribe to this page, and if you want to receive more information about this or any of JazzYYC's other upcoming programming, please visit jazzyyc.com and become a member.